All right, going to bring you a Ripple update in the SEC case. The SEC, I have been saying almost from the beginning, the SEC is bombing this, and they are bombing this bad. I really believe that the one of the better buys, if you're going to buy, one of the better buys might still be XRP. Not financial advice. I'm an amateur YouTuber. Don't follow me. I'll get you wrecked. But the fundamentals are there, and that is the XRP was beat up because of this case. Some people don't even know what's happening with this case, yet here it is. XRP's probably going to freaking win. I mean, the SEC makes one misstep after the other after the other. Now, let me just get this out of the way. I talk about this because I'm a fan of cryptocurrency. I do hold some XRP right now, primarily as a mental exercise because I support their side of this argument. However, in the world of decentralized cryptocurrencies, I'm not a fan of Ripple. Ripple is doing things like pushing forward central bank digital currencies. Ripple ultimately is about supporting the current centralized banking system. Maybe it's about making it more efficient, and maybe it's about attempting to introduce some decentralization to that banking system. But as a whole, when you talk about digital currencies and you talk about DeFi, that's all about getting rid of the major banking system. It's about limiting the major banking system. It's about limiting government's ability to be able to print endless amounts of money. XRP has nothing to do with the core reasons cryptocurrency ultimately is going to be so successful. So therefore, I'm not a super huge fan of XRP personally, but I do support them right here. I do support Brad Garlinghouse because the SEC, this has broad consequences. I'm a huge fan of decentralization. It's why I have our course. It's why I have our newsletter. Link in the description. Once we finish going through the article, I'm also going to show you where you can get some exclusive content about XRP. So stay tuned for that. The SEC stumbles in Ripple's case, lost in a maze of its own making. So when the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission filed its multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against a blockchain technology company, Ripple and two executives in December, the timing was doubly peculiar. The complaint alleged that Ripple's sales of the cryptocurrency XRP from 2013 to present were illegal, unregistered security offerings rather than the distribution of a digital token to build a payment network. The SEC waiting 7 years to make this allegation with billions of XRP tokens now coursing through the secondary crypto markets was strange enough. But the case was also filed in the final hours of outgoing SEC Chairman Jay Clayton and then dumped on an evenly split commission heading towards a new administration. By watching the volley of filings heat up the case docket, it has become clear that the SEC's decision to sue Ripple was misguided. In recent days, a series of developments are starting to make it look like a disastrous mistake that the presumed incoming chairman, Gary Gensler, will have to sort out. As we walk through this, I want you to think about who was pushing this case in the first place. It wasn't Jay Clayton. That's the question you have to ask yourself. This guy did it under some sort of political pressure from somewhere. This administration was heading out. It's almost like, hey, you need to get this done before you leave. All you have to do is look at how poorly all this is going to realize this was some sort of rush job for some reason. But the question is why? Why do it in this manner? Why rush it in this way? The SEC probably didn't expect the storm that Clayton's final act has kicked up, and it has exposed the inherent weakness in the decision to sue. It began on January 1st when a group of XRP holders led by Rhode Island attorney John E. Deaton struck back at the agency. Deaton, a personal injury lawyer with class action experience, filed a petition in the U.S. District Court in his home state to force the SEC to exclude his XRP holdings from being defined as a security. Look at that. I think it's interesting that he's a personal injury lawyer, but he's going to court basically wanting his XRP holdings. And this is a class action lawsuit. So people are like, hey, we hold XRP. This is all part of the XRP army stuff. I'll give XRP something. They've got one strong community. No question about it. If you believe the XRP is a strong community, do me a favor, smash that like button. He says he didn't buy XRP as an investment contract and never considered it a security. And the SEC's case against Ripple unfairly harmed him when it sent its value plunging and forced crypto exchanges to start delisting the token. After filing his action, Denton says he was inundated with requests from thousands of fellow XRP retail holders wanting to join his case. I love this right here, because there are lawsuits right now against Coinbase in different places because people who bought XRP are saying, hey, Coinbase, you allowed me to buy an unregistered security. And I think that's so stupid. I think those people who are filing those lawsuits are idiots, and they're just opportunists. They're the lowest caliber of human beings. Because listen, how many of those people who buys a cryptocurrency on a cryptocurrency exchange and thinks that they're buying a security, a stock? None of them. This guy right here, like, this is the real deal. That's exactly right. If you're going to file a lawsuit, file it against the SEC, especially when you see how poorly this thing is set up. Last Friday, the SEC's response to Denton landed in Rhode Island. For those watching the Ripple case in New York, it carried an astonishing argument. The SEC asked to dismiss Denton's petition because no determination has yet been made on whether XRP is a security. Put two and two together, and the SEC is saying that Ripple and its two top executives had to have reasonable knowledge of something 7 years ago that the agency itself wasn't sure about last Friday. One wonders which part of the 1933 Securities Act the SEC will eventually use to argue that Ripple is obligated to have psychic powers to operate lawfully in the United States. Thank you. I have been saying this is a problem in crypto right now. People look at projects and they're like, why is that dev anonymous? That's an anonymous dev. I don't like an anonymous dev. I think it's smart to be anonymous right now as a developer in this space. Look at what's happening here. They are literally coming after Ripple for something that they still are not sure is a security. Put two and two together, and the SEC is saying that Ripple and its top two executives had to have reasonable knowledge of something 7 years ago that the agency itself wasn't sure about last Friday. That's incredible. Co-defendants Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, top Ripple executives, had sent letters to the New York judge on March 3rd, anticipating their own motions to dismiss the lawsuit with arguments around fair notice and due process. 2 days later, the SEC's response to Denton only made their arguments even more obvious. Get this. Are the SEC staff attorneys failing to show for Zoom meetings to coordinate with each other? It's no wonder that Ripple filed Freedom of Information Act request for internal SEC documents and communications that could show that while 7 years worth of high-profile developments were going on related to XRP, the agency's actions were as unclear and confusing, kind of like the contradictory filings they made just 2 days apart in New York and Rhode Island. We'll get to that in a minute, but this is going to be awesome. They filed this Freedom of Information Act. If they get it, it is going to be incredible. And I think we're going to see how unorganized this is. Again, my question here is, clearly there's not any heart to go after Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson. These are nothing more than federal employees. That's it. And they are willing to try to ruin a cryptocurrency project and these two men's lives. This is what frustrates me about the bureaucracy of federal government. These attorneys are nothing more than employees working for the government, have no idea of their consequences, are ill-prepared. And I go back to the question, why is all of this happening? Who is after XRP and Brad Garlinghouse? I mean, if you tell me no one, that's paranoia, I'm going to say, well, you might be right, but Jay Clayton had to make that decision. Was he sincerely so concerned about Ripple and XRP that he didn't take actions years earlier when he had time to run all of this through while he was still in position? I mean, there's a part of this that oddly doesn't make sense that nobody's talking about. I'm going to talk about it on this channel, and I'm going to continue to follow this. I promise you. If you think the government is full of crap, please, I'm going to ask you again to smash that like button, because all of crypto needs to understand what's happening right now. This is the same apparatus that people are wanting to set up good, solid, common sense crypto regulations. And I'm just telling you, most people in the crypto space have far more trust in the government and their ability to act efficiently and responsibly than I do. Let's keep going. The contradictory filings that were made just 2 days apart in New York and Rhode Island. So we're picking up right here. On March 8th, the SEC seemed to panic. It fired off a letter to the New York judge demanding she strike the fair notice defense from the Ripple case altogether, calling it improper and spurious, whatever that means, don't understand that word, and seeking an immediate hearing to decide on it. If the judge disagrees, one can only wonder what is lurking in the internal SEC communications that Ripple might find from the Freedom of Information Act request and other discovery measures. Basically, it looks like the government, from what I can tell, is trying to stop the Freedom of Information request, which is very interesting. Why do they want to stop that? What internal work went into the 2018 announcement by then Director of Corporation Finance William Hennett that Ether is not a security given its similarities to XRP? Which crypto exchanges asked for clear guidance from the SEC on XRP's legal notice before listing the token? And what were the agency's internal discussions and responses? How many opportunities was the SEC given since 2013 to give Ripple and XRP holders fair notice about XRP's status And what went into every decision to let these opportunities pass? Such good questions. If you don't know this, I covered it in a previous video because I've been following this for a minute. A major exchange reached out to the SEC for guidance, and they were essentially given no comment, which meant that the SEC didn't think it was a problem. They didn't come out right and say yes. They didn't come out outright and give permission, which they don't do that. The response was basically like, we don't currently see a problem. So the question is, what was the internal discussions going on that the SEC didn't come out and say, yes, that's a problem, and give negative guidance? Like, we don't suggest you do that. We don't think you should do that. They didn't give any negative guidance. I called this case a cryptocurrency trial of the century in December. I could not agree more with this. Because it's Ripple, a lot of decentralized minded cryptocurrency enthusiasts like myself aren't paying attention to this. And I find it frustrating because the truth is Ripple is a private company. If they weren't, and if Brad Garlinghouse did not have money, this on its merits, this case is falling apart. But the average developer trying to do something out there, think about Vitalik when he started Ethereum. Dude was probably broke as a joke, working on a journey and a dream. He would have had no chance of defending himself. He could have been right had the government come after him. He could have been 100% in the right, but it takes attorneys and legal fees, and the justice system just simply is not fair unless you have plenty of money to hire the best lawyers to take care of you. Unfortunately, it's a weakness in our current justice system. People are not paying attention to this in crypto, but I feel like they should, because I think this is literally the cryptocurrency trial of the century. Not only is the future of the U.S. crypto industry at stake, but the arrogance of unrestrained regulators making policy that through enforcement is on trial as well. The SEC has made clear it doesn't care how many investors it harms or how many companies it drives overseas as it seeks to stretch its authority beyond common sense. Can I say that again? This makes no sense. Again, this is my question. Here's what I'm really getting at. Who is behind this? What company, what individual, what politicians are behind this? The SEC has made it clear it doesn't care how many investors it harms or how many companies it drives overseas, as it seeks to stretch its authority beyond common sense. The making of what appears to be a class action lawsuit against the SEC on this issue confirms the backlash against its overreach. The most heartening development this week was the introduction of bipartisan legislation by Rep. Patrick McHenry, senior Republican on the House Financial Services Committee, to establish a public-private working group led by the SEC and the Commodities Futures Trading Commission to begin hammering out clear regulatory framework for digital assets. I participated in a real clear policy panel discussion in January with McHenry on crypto regulations, and he spoke of his determination to put an end to the agency's overreach. It was on the same day President Biden nominated Gary Gensler to chair the SEC. Gensler said in a Senate confirmation hearing in February that he thinks the SEC should only use its enforcement resources when it can address big problems in the market. So it would stand to reason that the new chairman will address the biggest problem for crypto markets by investing SEC's resources in McHenry's working group rather than in Jay Clayton's misguided lawsuit that might blow up in the agency's face. We'll have to wait and see. I think this is optimistic. It's going to be interesting. I think this ends favorably overall. I'll wrap it up with this, and then I'll tell you where you can get some XRP exclusive content. First things first, I think the government has radically overreached clearly. I think this is botched, and I think this is going to end well for XRP. I really do believe that. Not financial advice, but I'm holding the little bit of XRP I have because I feel confident that the price is going to go up. No question about it. Now, personally, anytime the government's going to make guidelines or policies around cryptocurrency, I'm concerned that it's going to hurt the small investor. I do believe I've been saying it for a while. I'm going to say it again. I do think ultimately they're going to make cryptocurrency available only for accredited investors. So I highly recommend if you're in this space that you just be aware that probably could be coming. Accredited investors basically means you need to be wealthy. The same type of investors that can invest in hedge funds, IPOs on the stock market, private placement investments. You can only do that if you're accredited investors. If you're trying to trade futures on any large scale, you have to be an accredited investor. They say that you're not smart enough, you don't make enough money, you're not rich enough to handle the risk, therefore you don't get access to some of the high reward investments that do exist out there. So I'm always going to be a fan of decentralization, less centralized control over our finances. That's me personally. And if you agree with that, please smash that like button. So I'm going to tell you where you can get some exclusive content for XRP. I believe in decentralization, even on YouTube. I prefer a decentralized project over a centralized project every day, all day. I prefer less censorship and really less corporate responsibility to legal liability. That's part of where censorship comes from. Companies have to make certain that they're not legally liable for something that goes up on their platform. I support decentralization and less censorship. I'm supporting and talking about Odysee right now. Their project is the LBC token, or their crypto is the LBC token. It's gone up over 4,000%. I'm going to be posting Odysee specific content related to XRP on the Odysee channel, and I'm only going to put some of it up on Odysee. I've been putting up 1 to 2 videos each week only on Odysee. All my YouTube videos come over here. Plus, I'm going to be putting some exclusive content over here as well. If you want to follow me on Odysee for that exclusive content, do me a favor, go down in the description and I'll put a link for my Odysee channel. Click that link and come follow me on Odysee. I would love to hear your thoughts about this SEC lawsuit down in the comments. Decentralized cryptocurrency equals freedom. This is Crypto Wealth. I'm out.